Hello and welcome back to Obsessive Prepper AZ. Today I've got a bunch of bell peppers. I went to the ranch market and got a heck of a deal on bell peppers. 3 for 99 cents. When you see those kind of deals, it is hard to pass them up. Once I have my bell peppers roasted, I'm going to put them into mason jars. Pressure can them for 35 minutes because all I'm going to use is just water. Now, if you do a pickled marinade, some kind of pickled marinated pepper that has some vinegar or something, then you don't need to pressure cook it. You can just water bath it. But I like my bell peppers just the plain fresh taste. I will pull them out of the jars, chop them up, put them in for meatloaf or stuffed bell peppers. I like them on sandwiches, just as on a cracker with some cheese. And so I just like them plain, just their fresh taste. So I'm going to go ahead and get these on the grill and get them blistered. So when I say char, we're basically just blistering our bell peppers. I'm going to flip them. So I'm going ahead and turning off my burners. Our roasted bell peppers are completely done. I'm going to go ahead and remove them and put them on the cookie sheet, and then I'll get back to you. So now all I'm going to do is wrap my cookie sheets up with plastic wrap. Once we have our roasted bell peppers on a cookie sheet, now you can do it in a plastic bowl or in a plastic bag. I've got so many, I've done it on cookie sheets. I'm just going to go ahead and wrap my cookie sheets with plastic wrap. And the reason why we're doing that is we want this moisture and this heat to stay in. And what that's going to do is make our peppers sweat. So it's easier to get the outside of the pepper off, because we're wanting to get that charred. We put the char on it for the taste, but then to have a charred pepper, it would be real bitter and bad. So what we're going to do is let this sit, and then our skin's just going to come right off. So I have my chars of pepper. I'm going to go ahead and get them inside the house, let them cool off, and then I'll show you the next step when they're ready to peel. So our bell peppers are completely roasted, sweated, and it's time to peel our plastic off. So I'm going to go ahead and break into them. Aren't they beautiful? And this is how they turn out. Now with the knife, what I'll do is I'll cut them down one side, peel out the seeds, the stem, and I will go ahead and get what I can get off of the skin myself without using a knife. Now I don't pick my bell peppers completely clean of the char. I like a couple little pieces of the char in the jar. It's pretty, it looks great. Now generally when you're peeling your peppers, it should come off relatively easy. The only other thing I might do is take my knife, get rid of the extra seeds that are still attached. Now this is something you do not want to rinse your bell peppers, because all you're doing is rinsing your flavor completely off and off of your product. So there we go. One roasted peeled pepper, and I'm just going to go ahead and finish doing this to all my peppers. One half. There's my other half. I'm going to go ahead and finish doing this, and I'll show you the end result. Okay, I'm on my last bell pepper. I ended up choosing these little jars. They're half pints, and I think these will work out great for my peppers. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take pieces and I'm going to pack my jars. And it all depends on how much you want to put in there. I would not suggest to completely overpack them, but they'll fit quite a few of them in. So this was the equivalent of 2 peppers in each jar. I'm going to go ahead and finish filling up all my jars. I almost couldn't have planned this any better. All 14 of my jars and all of my bell peppers. Normally that doesn't happen. Either I have a little too less or a little bit too much. But perfect 14 jars. Now the only other thing I'm going to do is going to add hot water to this and pickling salt. This is my recipe. This is what I do. If you want to add other seasonings, marinade, whatever, if you do something with vinegar, then you do not have to pressure can it. But I don't want the vinegar marinated taste in my bell peppers. I just want that pure taste. So it's just going to be water. So I have to use my pressure canner with the gauge and can it for 35 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and add my 1/4 teaspoon of pickling salt to each jar. Boy, I got red. I went to the lake on the jet skis this weekend and I got burned. I have my pressure canner here. I've got 2 quarts of water in it, and I'm going to add a little vinegar to my water, just about a tablespoon of vinegar. What that's going to do is it's going to keep your jars and your lid from turning cloudy. Kind of smells like vinegar in the house, but I'd rather have that than everything turn cloudy and my jars look nasty. I have my lids on the back burner warming up, and the reason why we want to warm that up is we want the wax, the rubber gasket around it, I guess it's not wax, it's a gasket, to get softened. You do not want to boil your water where you lose the integrity of your cap. So just get it hot, but not boiling. And now I'm just going to ladle hot water into my peppers. I love working with trays because it catches all the overflow of everything. You want to leave about a 1/2 inch of headspace on your peppers. Now that I filled up the water into the peppers, what I want to do is just move the water around. If I need to add some more water, I add more water. But we're trying to get all the air bubbles out of our peppers. And I can see air bubbles coming out. So I push them down. And we get all the air bubbles out. Now that I have all my air out of my peppers, I've made sure to move them around, smash them, and get all the air bubbles out. I'm going ahead and now I'm going to put my caps on and get them into the canner. I have my jars in my canner, double stacked. I'm going to go ahead and get my lid on my canner. And I'm going to let this vent boil at high and let it vent for 10 minutes. So I am venting to get all the air out of my pressure canner is what I'm doing. And once we do that, then I will throw my weight on. Then I will build my pressure canner up to 11 pounds of pressure. And once it gets 11 pounds of pressure, I will set my timer for 35 minutes. Now, never do I want it to ever drop below that 11 pounds of pressure. If you do that, going to have to start the whole timing process back over again. Now I say 11 pounds of pressure. I live in Arizona in the Phoenix Mesa area, and per the guidelines, you can Google it, I need 11 pounds of pressure. So when you are canning peppers, basic guidelines are if you're using water, you need to pressure can, not to water bath. Now I know there are people out there that's going to come back and say I do it all the time. That's great. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm just telling you what I do personally. I have my canner boiling, and it's been boiling for almost 10 minutes. And what we're doing is we're releasing the air out of our pressure canner. Once our pressure canner has reached the 10 minutes, now that the 10 minutes are over, venting, I'm going to go ahead and put my weight on top. What we are going to do now is we're going to build our pressure up to 11 pounds of pressure. Whatever pressure may be in your area, look at Google, ask it, how many pounds of pressure for where you're at. Now, when we're doing this and we're building the pressure up, you want to slowly break down the temperature a little bit. You don't want it to completely be on high. So I've got mine and I slowly adjust it. And I'm at about a low, between low and medium right now. And what I want to do is I do not want to do it on high where you pass by that 11 pounds of pressure and it's cooking so hot, because those jars are moving and you're going to burn your product inside. So you've got to find that sweet spot that is just the right spot that'll get it up to 11 pounds of pressure and not keep going up to 13, 14 pounds of pressure. You do not want to do that. Another tip, people have asked me over the years in all my canning videos, you use a glass top. They say not to use a glass top. I've been in the same house for 32 years. I've owned 2 stoves in those 32 years. I just replaced my glass top last summer, which is 2018, and I have always pressure canned on my glass stoves. That being said, if you've got a glass top, you have to try it at your own risk. Now, my daughter and I in Kentucky, we used her glass top perfectly fine with her canner, and she still cans today. So that's 3 glass tops. The only suggestion I say is if you move your canner around, you're going to scratch your glass top and you'll never get those scratches out. So if for any reason you need to reposition your canner, you need to pick it up solid, move it wherever you need to move it, and then set it down. Do not slide your counter on your glass top. Okay, so we are at 11 pounds of pressure. I'm going to go ahead and set my timer for 35 minutes. We do not want this to climb anymore. You do not want it to go to 12, 13, 14. So now that I'm at 11 pounds of pressure, I'm going to go ahead and start kicking back little amounts. You see your gauge drop too much, too quickly, get your heat back up. Don't let it drop below that 11 pounds of pressure. Again, or whatever your pressure is in your area. So if you don't have any sources like a barbecue grill, then by all means, char your peppers in your oven. Turn it to broil, char each side, flip them, and then just repeat the process that I just did on the tin pan or a bowl in plastic. Our canner is at 0 pounds of pressure, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the weight. And we know because there's no air coming out, and this is completely down now, it's not up. I'm going to go ahead and open my canner. Now when you open your canner, make sure you open it away from you and not towards you. You don't need that steam coming up into your face. And I just let a little bit of the steam come out and escape before I pull the whole thing off. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get my jar out. Love the sound of popping. You can still see it boiling. There's nothing better than your own homemade canned food. And we've got 14 half pints of bell peppers canned. No preservatives, all ours and homemade. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe. And if you want to be notified for future videos, ring the bell. Have a blessed day.